Hola clase. Vamos a repasar los complementos indirectos y los pronombres. So we're going to talk about indirect objects and pronouns today. Make sure you have your note sheet out. First of all, it answers the question to whom or for whom. If you remember direct objects and direct object pronouns, it answers what question? The question would be what or whom. This one is to whom or for whom, so we know the indirect object is always a person. Now you know these pronouns as well. It receives the action indirectly. Okay? The direct object receives it directly. That's why it's called the direct. So you know these pronouns. Okay? They are the gustar pronouns. So they are me, te, le, nos, os, les. And if you look at these, I want you to write the English down on your sheets, all of the English. If you look at these are the same for direct as well as indirect, except for the third person. In the direct objects, you have me, te, lo, la, nos, os, los, las. Here you have the le and the les. And in this situation, they are just people. So you want to stop this. You want to write the English down and then continue. Okay, now that you're back, we're going to continue. What is the subject, verb, direct, and indirect objects color code each with a different color? It's going to be extremely helpful for you if we color code the different parts of a sentence with different colors so we can identify what's the subject, what's the indirect object. So I want you to pause this. I want you to try and get 4 different colors. Maybe it's 4 different pens, 4 different colored pencils, 4 different markers so that you can color code these sentences. So stop right now, go get that, and then come back. Pause the video, of course. Okay, now that you're back, you are going to make these different colors. It doesn't have to be the same colors as I have. Marta, what part of the sentence is Marta? That is the subject. The verb gives money. What part of the sentence is that? Marta gives what? Money. Money is the direct object. Then you're going to read the sentence. Marta gives money to whom? To whom or for whom? To figure out the indirect. That's the indirect object right there. Okay? So if we're going to put this in Spanish, it's Marta da dinero a Marcos y a Jose. Again, another way of doing this is Marta is the subject, da is the verb, dinero is the direct object, and the indirect object is Marcos and Jose. So Marta gives money to Marcos and Jose. So if we want to use a pronoun, instead of saying Marcos and Jose, we want to say Marta gives them money, because you don't want to keep repeating the person's name all the time. It gets very redundant. So here, this is when you are going to replace the indirect object with the indirect object pronoun. So look back on your sheets and you have to think about them. Is them me, te, le, nos, os, or les? Well, them is les. Okay? Put it above it. It helps you. And then when you're rewriting it, you can say Marta les da dinero, and the indirect object pronoun goes before the conjugated verbs. It's the same rules as direct object pronouns. Marta gives them money. We will talk about later about replacing both of them. Marta gives it to them. You can also attach to an infinitive. Now all those examples that I gave you on this page, I want you to write down on your sheet where it says write all the examples. And I want you to color code where I color code, and I am going to be checking that. You can also attach to an infinitive. So just fill in the blank here. Quiero darles dinero, or les quiero dar dinero. Go before the conjugated verb or attach to the infinitive. When I say the infinitive, it's a verb that ends in AR, ER, IR. It's not conjugated. It cannot go here. This is no way. Okay, so do not put it here. It has to go, when I say conjugated verb, yo to, LAI usted form. Okay? Vamos a practicar. So we're going to practice now. I'm going to do the first one for you. You're going to do this on the other side of your sheet. You're just going to number them 1, 2, 3, 4. The woman gives me the passport. So the first thing that you want to do in this is you want to look at it and say, okay, the woman, that's the subject. The verb is gives, to figure out what everything is. The woman gives, what's the direct object? The woman gives what? The passport. The direct object in this one actually isn't directly after it. The woman gives the passport to whom? To me is the indirect. I mean, typically, the indirect is the person in the sentence that's not the subject, and the subject comes before the verb. So, please forgive my writing. I'm not very good with this. The woman is la mujer. And then maybe what you want to do is you want to put the verb next. La mujer da, leave a space for the indirect object pronoun, da el pasaporte okay, and then to me. You can say the woman gives me the passport, or the woman gives the passport to me. So this is where it goes. So when you read this, it's the woman gives the passport to me. Okay? So I want you to try to do the rest of them. Pause the video and then come back. Let's say you're struggling and you're trying to do number 1 and you want to make sure it's right. Do number 1, write the English and the Spanish down, then come back and check yourself. And then do number 2 and write the English and Spanish down and come check yourself. That's another way of doing it. If you feel confident that you can do all 4 of them at once, try it at once. If not, do the first one, come back and check it. Do the second one, come back and check it. Okay? Okay. So number 1. The mother gives them the boarding pass. La madre, okay, and I color coded these, which it helps you. La madre is the subject, da is the verb, la tarjeta de embarque is the direct object, and les is the indirect object. Okay, so the mother gives the boarding pass to them, and them is les. Okay, the next one, the teacher tells us the homework. Before looking at it, you can look at it and go, okay, us is the indirect, and it's nos. So when I rewrite this, it's going to go right before the verb. So it would be el profesor nos dice la tarea. You could say el maestro, la profesora. He sells the suitcase to her. To her is that mete le, right? Right there, le. So if you want, he sells the suitcase to her. Él le vende la maleta. The flight attendant brings you all Spain food. You all Spain is the indirect. Okay, and that's os. Don't get confused. The flight attendant, he, those are the subjects. There's 2 people in these sentences. La auxiliar de vuelo os trae la comida. It also could be el auxiliar de vuelo. I didn't specify male or female. So definitely, if you're not understanding this or you're having problems, circle which one. We can go over it in class. Ask you if you have any questions on it. Yeah. Y nos vemos mañana. Have a good night. Ciao.